10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is up, everybody? Welcome to All Access Magic. What's going on?
What? Are we in the same room?
There's no wall. There's no border.
This is the first time
We've actually been in the same room.
We've been in the same room. Yeah, we had to make this huge for the first All Access Magic. So, I mean, I don't know about you. I'm already pumped. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, so for the people that don't know us yet, because we're now on a new channel, thank you so much to all the viewers here that were fans of Magic After Dark. We're still continuing so much of what we created with Magic After Dark. We're just trying to bring it to a new level.
Yeah, we're doing things to whole new heights.
Yes, exactly.
As you guys can see already, we're in a new set back here.
Exactly.
So let's just introduce ourselves, make sure people know who we are. So
yes, so you need no introduction because your name is already in the bottom.
That is, yes, so my name is down there.
Everybody, my name is Blaze Sarah.
This is Blaze Sarah.
And I'm a magician, and this is Ryan Edwards.
I'm Ryan Edwards, as you can see down in the bottom corner, and I'm a mentalist. There we go.
You good?
We're
good?
Can we hear we're back? Let me double check. Let's see. We are back.
We're back.
All right.
We're back. Okay.
What
Apologies for audio glitch just now.
What happened is we overran this computer to the gills with different things plugged in to run everything here tonight, and apparently it doesn't like the mic plugged in at the same time. So no one tell them they're back.
No one tell them they're back. Just learn sign language. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody that's joining us from the Magic Discord. So my name is Blaze Sarah. I am a magician, and this is Ryan Edwards, a mentalist. We've both done a lot of magic consulting in the past for a lot of different acts that you may have seen on places like AGT and different shows. And we are also performers in our own right. And we've been doing this podcast for a lot of 2021 and 2020.
It's probably been almost a year, I would say, that we've been running the podcast. Actually, I got to check. We're probably up to at least 50 episodes or so. And so we decided to take this to a whole new height. And so we are going to be doing some crazy stuff. Like Blaze said, thank you so much for all the people that followed us on Magic After Dark. If you tuned in last week, we took down a bunch of names and we tried to find a new name. And so this week we came up with All Access. There it is, All Access Magic. Yes. And because we are encompassing everything now, we are taking over the Magic podcast world. We're taking over the Magic.
Basically, I mean, we're offering something that I think will be very tough for other Magic podcasts to match.
Yeah.
Which is part of the announcement for this week. We have an incredible guest who's going to be joining us very soon. But before he jumps in, Spidey wants to know, how are you guys in the same room?
That is it, Spidey.
Crazy.
This is crazy,
Spidey,
right?
There's no, the CGI is on another level. Can you believe the production value? Fist bump so we know it's real. What if we just missed?
Yeah. It's facade. It's like,
we just start melting midway through.
There it is.
So it's real. I didn't realize Blaze was the same height as Pig Cake. Okay,
he's very short, guys. I'm 6'1", and this guy's like 5'2".
Significantly lower chair.
Not true. I guess I could bring myself down to your height. Harry,
I appreciate it.
I feel like such a weird person.
He's already got the name. So he said, "Is Blaze in Canada?" Maybe I might be in Canada, or he might be in Los Estados Unidos.
That's it. I don't know what that means. But no. Yes, Spidey, Blaze is in Canada. We're not close to Montreal, obviously. And wish that you were home. Oh, no. Are you home now? I know you were gone for a few weeks because I was in Montreal last week. He said friendship over.
Yeah, we're Ryan and Blaze now. Fixed.
That's it. Who's Spidey? No. But yeah, so that is a quick introduction of who we are and kind of what we've been doing for the last year. But I guess what we really want to do is make a podcast where you got to see magicians behind the curtain. Behind the performance, see who they are after the show's over, and get to experience, the creative process of these magicians or just their senses of humor, what it's like to hang out with these magicians, like at a bar afterwards. Yeah, I was going to say definitely like a bar because we do some crazy stuff. Everybody just saw that I'm wearing shorts.
No, the professionalism out the window. I am
professional from here.
It's okay. I'll cut out the part when our mic cut out, and I'll cut out your shorts.
Definitely.
It'll be great.
Definitely. So what we like to do as well for how All Access Magic works is if you have any questions for the artists that are coming on, just type them in the comment chat. We try to get everybody that we can into your questions in and get them answered and stuff. And it's kind of no holds barred. That's why it was called Magic After Dark originally, is because it didn't matter what happened on the show.
Yeah, exactly. So, and people could feel free to be as uncensored and open and real as they wanted. And we still want to absolutely keep that. That's why we're getting all access to the true, real people behind the curtain, behind the mask. But I think what we really want to talk about is this announcement.
The next announcement.
Before our guest jumps in.
Yeah, because this is probably the biggest announcement that we've had. Like last week, we changed the name. We came up with a couple other segments that we're going to be doing. But this is now going to make everything legit.
Exactly. And yes, we've gotten a question of, do we still have the call-in feature?
The call-in feature.
And we absolutely do. So if you'd like to join the call-in feature, all you have to do is go to 1v1magic.com. 1v1magic. So I'll pop that up on the screen right here. If you go over to 1v1magic.com. If you go to 1v1magic.com, then you can actually join the Magic Discord, and then you can jump in and call into the show. We can bring you in and have a chat. You can also talk to our guest tonight, Xavier Mortimer. Absolute beast.
If you don't know who Xavier Mortimer is, to me, I've seen pretty much every single show in Vegas, and all the shows are great. Any show you see in Vegas is going to be awesome. But Xavier does things that I don't think any other magician would do on a daily basis and do them perfectly every single time. So it's crazy.
It definitely gives you the impression that he's like an actual wizard, especially even through his social media content. He's able to portray some of the most magical real life magic that I've ever seen.
But I know that's what we said earlier today, is like if there was one magician in the world that could be a wizard, it's Xavier. So
exactly. But that's not even our big announcement. The fact that we have TikTok superstar, millions of followers, incredible legend Xavier Mortimer as our guest tonight. No,
this gets crazier.
We're trying to bring you guys not only the best magic podcast we can, but the best Patreon out there in the world. And we've been working for months on trying to get this together so it would be ready to bring to you so that we could have as many benefits as possible.
And I like, if you're not, if people don't join this, it's just like,
you're literally like, you're losing out. You're missing out on so much.
Yeah.
You're going to be behind everybody else. I told a few friends of mine on the Discord the other day about what the benefits were, and a few of them were like, it would be dumb not to
Yeah.
sign up
Oh,
that much free stuff.
It's
also,
nuts.
I see that there are a few people on the Discord right now. All you have to do is raise your hand on the Discord, and then when I see that your hand's raised, I can bring you up to the stage and you can talk to us if you'd like. But let's go over to this big announcement on the Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/allaccessmagic, all access magic, right up there. If you go to patreon.com/allaccessmagic, you can sign up. We have a few different tiers. There's 4 different tiers so far. And we tried to pack as much value into these tiers as possible.
I'm going to sign up and just to get
free stuff.
I'm already
just to get
involved
the free
in
stuff that you get. Yeah.
But it's so crazy.
Yeah. So first off, a lot of you know that part of Magic After Dark, we tried to give back as much as we could to our viewers, and we had weekly giveaways. Now we are upping the level of these giveaways so far beyond what we had before. It's not going to be just downloadable products, physical products that are kind of like the latest and greatest on the market.
The latest and greatest, and sometimes even the unseen.
Yes, some products that are unreleased, haven't been released yet. We're going to be doing giveaways weekly of these products, which also ties into a new segment.
Yeah. Yes. So we've got 2 new segments of the channel, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, we are now working full time on All Access Magic.
All Access Magic is now a job.
It's become an 8-hour-a-day job. So should we tell them let's talk about the first one then.
So the first one is reviews.
Yeah.
We're going to be now, as part of the show on a weekly basis, we're going to be reviewing Magic, and we will have a few different products each week that we go through. And after the show, when we do our giveaways, the giveaway will be one of the products that we reviewed on the show.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've already started going through a bunch of different routines and tricks and stuff that we have for the giveaways. And I mean, so far, I've been super pumped with everything I've been reviewing, which is awesome. I took really a bunch of new stuff to a gig just last night, and it slayed. So you guys are going to be ready. You're not going to be ready, I should say it that way, for all the giveaways that are going to be happening. And with the reviews, that segment's called Behind the Gimmicks. So you'll get access to Behind the Gimmicks as well, and hear about the latest and greatest and the newest things coming to the market.
So when you see us do a review, if there is anything that you saw us review that you go, oh, I want a chance of getting my hands on that for free. Well, I guess it's not technically for free if you join the Patreon, but instead of having to actually buy that product, just for even our lowest tier of the Patreon, which is the $5 tier, if you join the $5 tier, you have a chance to get products for free that are, I mean, some of the ones that we've been sent are, multiple hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like there are things that I want to keep, but we're giving them away. That's how good it is. It's like, I could keep that as a backup or something, but no, we're giving them away. So if you join the Patreon, you've got a chance every single week to win one of the products that we review, which is pretty unheard of in Magic podcasts, in most podcasts.
Yes, and we will have a giveaway tonight that is available for anybody who signs up for the Patreon during the show. So I'll be checking and seeing if anybody goes to patreon.com/allaccessmagic. We already have someone who said, I joined. No pressure, but it better be good. Again, no pressure. We promise you it will be beyond
This is going to be crazy. Well, let's tell them about the other tiers.
Yes. All right. That was just tier 1. You get the opportunity to get a giveaway product. But what are some tangible things that aren't just up to chance that you can get as value for this?
I like chaotic coins. Can I be a prize?
It's great in a 2-piece. If you guys haven't checked out Mark Chaotic, he is incredible. Look up Chaotic Coins. He's blown up on Reddit. Actually, a lot of his videos have been reposted. He's doing TikTok, Instagram. Check out his stuff. He's an incredible coin magician. We really appreciate you jumping in and watching. And we might take you up on that offer to be, to be a Patreon prize.
We're always looking for the newest and greatest products, right?
Yeah, the latest,
the 2-piece product.
Latest and greatest. So I'm going to actually share my screen because here I have the Patreon up as well. So I'm going to just open this up into a new window. But if you want to start letting them know about some of the next tier up, the weekly patter.
The weekly patter, yes. So this is something special that we're doing. We love chatting with all of you guys every single week on here, but usually we're talking with a guest. And so it's a lot of questions for the guests. And both myself and Blaze are full-time magicians, mentalists. And so we're traveling and performing and doing lecture stuff or consulting on TV shows and stuff. And so what we thought would be great is to have like a Saturday morning kind of coffee hour or half an hour with our patron subscribers. And so we are calling it the weekly patter. So you'll get access to that where you'll get just kind of a more intimate feeling where we'll hop on Discord together and chat.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So as you can see here, if you look at our membership levels at $5 lasagna, you get
there you go lasagna
access to the weekly giveaways. You also gain access to our private all access magic social medias, our Instagram and everything, and you'll get to find out the next week's guest early, as well as what products we'll be reviewing early, which if you're interested in getting in on a giveaway would be pretty crucial information to find out what's coming out next, especially as you find out about some of the other tiers. But the $10 tier, yes, the weekly patter, we're going to be doing an extra podcast just for our patrons every week. So if you have any questions that you want to ask us, you can submit it with a monthly AMA. We'll answer your questions, and really whatever you'd like us to feature, we'll also be unboxing and giving sneak peeks of the products.
Well, that's a great thing too. Like if you have questions about products that maybe we reviewed and you didn't get the answer that you were looking for in the review, you can then come on there and ask us those questions and find out the answers firsthand.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is going to be the weekly patter, and that's another way that you get some additional content for being a patron. But that's just the beginning.
There's more.
There's so much more. So the VIP patron level, where you're a double stacked lasagna up in here. So up in this tier, you gain access to one private Discord channels that are only available to patrons on the Magic Discord, where you will get you'll be able to message us directly on that channel. You'll be able to talk with the other patrons and find out a lot of information. And if we have any videos that we shoot with any of the products that we're going to review, we'll post them in the Discord. You can check out, get some extra sneak peek content early. But you might notice right here what it says.
This one is the craziest one.
Yeah. So what does that say about a 20% discount?
A 20% discount. I mean, that's almost unheard of. That's like Black Friday every week. Every day. Yeah, it's like we now have Black Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Exactly.
So if you join our VIP patron, the products that we review for a certain amount of time, you will be able to get 20% off of those products. And so we'll have it all set up through our site. So you can go on there, get it, and we'll ship them out to you the next day, which is awesome.
So basically we're opening essentially a magic shop, but it is specifically tailored to our supporters of the podcast. It's specifically tailored to our patrons. So if there's any product that you see us review, that you are interested in purchasing, if you're at the $25 a month tier, then any of our favorite products that we review that we put up on the site for purchase, you'll be able to get a 20% discount off of it.
I like that number CA52 says, I feel like you'd lose an insane amount of money on that 20% off thing. That's why it's crazy, and you guys should join. We want to make it the best possible thing. We're not concerned about ourselves making money on the products, because we are not a physical magic shop.
Yes.
We do obviously have some supply that we purchase and stuff, but we want to make it the best Patreon and podcast for you. So by you guys joining the Patreon, you can already see that the set back here has changed since previous weeks. It's only going to get crazier because obviously as people join the Patreon, we'll be putting those funds into upping the podcast, which is great. So, and new and exciting things as well. So,
and I think that something that we need to clarify, RB was asking is the podcast part of Lost Art anymore, or is that the store? The store we're talking about isn't Lost Art Magic specifically. So we're going to be reviewing Magic products from all different Magic retailers. So we're talking Murphy's Magic, we're talking Vanishing Ink exclusive products, we're talking Tannen's Magic exclusive products, Theory 11 exclusive products. We're going to be reviewing all different products. And these giveaways that we're talking about and these discounts are on the latest and greatest products that are available from all Magic retailers. So we're not just talking about like, oh, just this one website you can get 20% off on. We're talking about if we review something that you're seeing the trailers for right now that hasn't come out yet, then you have the chance to purchase it at a 20% discount before it's released. Potentially.
Which is unheard of. I mean, you're not going to get this deal anywhere else, really. I feel like I need to run an infomercial. Like, you're not going to get this deal anywhere else.
And this is, and again, for someone who's wondering, you know, I feel like you lose an insane amount of money on that 20% off thing. Remember, this is only possible because of our supporters like you, because of the viewers, because of the Patreon. So it's because of the Patreon that we're able to do these things. So also, we
have one more tier.
Have another tier. All right.
One more tier.
So we're going to, I'll just pull back up the, so you can see the screen right here on the, I actually was right there. Here.
It's coming.
And here
it is.
Okay. So here we have the $50 tier. So this, you gain all of the previous tiers from before, but also we're going to be doing additional. Basically, not only you get the weekly patter, an extra podcast each week, you not only get the opportunity to get these discounts, you not only get the giveaways, you also get a special Discord channel, 2 special Discord channels that are just for the people at this tier, where you can hang out with us, and we're going to be basically almost like a personal podcast that you're a part of. We're going to hang out with you for hours on end.
Basically. And I mean, we've already started talking about, should I tell them about what we were chatting about earlier?
And part of that tier isn't just hanging out with us. It's also getting access to private lectures. So.
We've already talked to a few of our friends who are incredible lecturers, and they've agreed to come on. So they said if people joined up to the hangout with the hosts, on our Patreon, that they would come on and do private lectures for you guys. So we plan on doing at least 1 lecture a month. So you'll be getting a lecture. You'll also be getting to hang out with us and chat backstage kind of thing. Backstage pass to All Access Magic. You're getting all of the discounts, all of the access to the private social media accounts, the weekly patter, the behind the gimmicks, everything. You're getting everything included, plus lectures and more. So,
some of your favorite lecturers, some people that haven't released live lectures yet, but have created Magic products that you probably own, or you're going to have the opportunity to get a private lecture that is only open to the people at that Patreon tier. So we're really trying to put as much value into this, and all of what we've said is already set in stone, is happening, and that is what you're going to receive if you join the Patreon. It's not up in the air. What we want to do is make this even bigger and better, and we have goals already. Next week, we're going to be announcing what our stretch goals are on the Patreon. If we hit a certain amount, what we'll be able to be capable of to give you even more benefits.
I mean, the stuff that we've talked about, I won't mention anything tonight because we don't want to give any spoilers away, but the stuff that we've talked about doing if we hit certain tiers is absolutely insane and super exclusive. I'm going to say that, because that's the best part about this whole thing, is like, you are basically joining the All Access Magic exclusive team. Basically, you're a member of the team.
You are producers of our show. You are part of our team.
So we're excited about that. But I mean, I'm pumped. I'm pumped, and I'm excited for tonight. Our guest is absolutely incredible.
Yes. He'll be joining us in around 10 minutes.
So if you guys have any questions, make sure to throw them up in the chat, or like we said before, go to 1v1magic.com and join the Discord, and then you can ask us questions live. So you can call in and ask away. If you have any questions about the Patreon and stuff, throw them up. And someone said the book behind me is going to fall. it looks that way, but it's not. It's especially made.
Yes, and we have received our first patron.
Should we just give the first patron something cool?
Yeah,
because like
let's throw him a product. Thank you so much, RB said that they did it. Yeah, and they actually did it. So as our first patron, we're going to give them a download.
Yeah, we give him a download, and then I may even just to be thankful, I might send him a deck of cards or something.
Yeah.
I've got some decks here that I've released, so maybe we'll sign a deck and send them over.
Yeah.
We'll make it 1 of 1.
Congratulations,
so
RB. Thank you so much for the support. Man. So anybody else who jumps in, we can see live who becomes a patron during the show. We're just getting all of these Patreon announcements out of the way. If anybody has any questions for us about all of these tiers, I know we spat a lot of information out at you. If you want any clarification, you can check out patreon.com/allaccessmagic. I'm actually going to throw that up as a banner. Patreon.com/allaccessmagic.
Chaotic Coin says, why am I just finding out Ryan has decks? I don't. All of my decks are downstairs, I think, too. But I have. I released the Victoria deck a little while back, and then I actually released a deck with Jeremy Griffith as well, who's been one of our guests in the past. I'm sure he'll be back on as well. But we released the Vitreous deck together as well. So 2 super awesome decks that I still use all the time. So release that folding pattern for the Magic Word folded book, please. Oh yeah, could I do that? No, those are available on rehandcrafted.com. Which is now my other website. And so I make products for magicians and stuff on there. So he says, now we found out Ryan has an upstairs. Yeah, this is upstairs. This is my office, studio space. If you've seen me on other episodes where I had the playing cards on the back wall and stuff, that's in the basement. So yeah, you're learning more about my place. So.
So somebody asked about the link in X's description is his own, correct? Yes. So if you are interested in anything that we just talked about, you can go to patreon.com/allaccessmagic. That's really the hub for all things All Access Magic, and where you can get access to all. And
we'll be on here every week on Xavier Spade's channel because Xavier is awesome, and
we really appreciate
definitely helping us out a lot with everything, and so make sure to support him and the channel and Lost Art Magic and all of that, because it's all incredible content. So
absolutely.
Catacoin says the slowest house tour ever. So next week I'll be broadcasting from my kitchen, and we'll slowly show each room. No, we'll be back up here. I plan on doing some more things with the set, and so every week you'll get to see new and improved set designs and stuff like that. So
and we'll have a ping pong cam next time.
Oh yes.
But I won't be around.
No, we're gonna have to videotape that. Maybe that'll be the Saturday morning. Oh no, we're gonna be away.
That would have been so cool.
Maybe okay. So if you join the Patreon, we're either gonna do a Sunday night, a late Sunday night, or Monday morning. Special podcast for you. It'll be myself and Blaze in the ping pong hour.
And yes, we will be doing a lot of things, checking out magic, talking magic, and playing ping pong. So if you guys don't know, I've talked about it before. Usually I have like men's night at my place with my neighbors and stuff on Wednesday nights before we do Magic After Dark. Or no, I'm calling it Magic After Dark. I'm so used to calling it Magic After Dark. Magic After Dark for a really long time.
It's been the year of Magic After Dark. So now, before All Access Magic, we usually have men's night, and so we make pizzas outside, and we play ping pong or pool and stuff. And so Blaze got here this afternoon, and so we decided we'd play a little ping pong. And let's just say Blaze is really good at magic.
That's a great way to put it. I was.
Tigger T says, I thought your wife was hanging in the basement or in the bottom floor during the podcast. That she is. So she moved down to the basement right now while we do the podcast up here, and then she'll come up here after it's done. So
but no, I was horrendous at ping pong. I was really bad. I hadn't played it in a really long time. It had been years since I had played ping pong, and
It's not an excuse, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not a good
The excuse that he's giving you right now, it reminded me. I said to him at one time, "This is like playing a child."
Yeah, and I realized that like saying you don't play ping pong that often isn't a good excuse because nobody plays ping pong that often.
No. Like I have a ping pong table in the basement, and I still only play one time a week on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, but I play one time every 5 years.
Yeah, but I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, his serve was like like this. If this is the paddle, and this is the table.
You gotta out me like this.
He just hits it straight down, and it just bounces straight up.
But when I was going against Dan, I started getting some good. I mean, I know he was playing at like 1% capacity, like he was literally like in slow motion.
Left-handed. It's opposite hand. Someone says I can't join the Patron because I'm saving to join Xavier's 3K.
Well, I don't know what Xavier's 3K thing. If he has something up for sale that's $3,000, then good on X.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we would never say that you should like worry about not supporting us or supporting X. Like, support X. Yeah, absolutely.
Karama says he'll smoke us both at ping pong.
Hey, the hair is an acceptable excuse for poor ping pong ability. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess you could say he got it in his eyes, but he's holding it back with sunglasses.
I'm holding it back with sunglasses, so yeah.
Yeah, they're gone. It's nighttime now.
Magic.
Okay.
Tobias, that ish just woo.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. It says, I think I grew up in the wrong era.
I bet you I made a face just now before I did that because I was afraid of smacking myself in the eye.
Nice, yeah. Look at Xavier says that he'll destroy us 2v1 in ping pong. Oh, buddy.
Good sir, we're not in the US. We're in a made-up country.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to say I'm a pretty good ping pong player. I mean, Dan is probably the best right now.
I think you don't understand the like velocity that X has. Like, X is a guy that he always jokes around. He's like, "Oh, I'm such a big guy," or whatever. Like,
I know he's a racquetball player before.
He can teleport with how quick he can move.
Oh no, I know he used to play racquetball like competitively and stuff. Or squash. One of the racquetball or squash. I mean, they're kind of the same thing, but
Caramel said X is terrifying. No, legit terrifying. Have you ever played finger fencing?
No.
Would you like to?
No.
So, it's the thing where you and somebody else, you take your hands like this and you both stick out one finger.
Yeah.
And you can move your back foot, but not your front foot, and you have to touch the other person.
Yeah.
And literally, Caramel and I both play. And Caramel, like, he's like a vet. Like, he is a vet. He's like a vet.
He's played this game a lot. He's
actually got testosterone pumping through his veins. And, like, just... And then we go and we're doing this. And literally, like, I play against Caramel, and I'm like, this is a pretty even match.
Yeah.
And then he just... Bam! Like when I played against X, just teleports, just touch me immediately, and we've just been joined.
It's on
X. Well, speaking of Xavier Spade, the incredible magician, we've been joined by incredible Xavier,
another incredible Xavier, which is crazy that there's two of them in the same space tonight.
Exactly.
Right? It's an unusual
We're on
name.
Xavier's channel with a different Xavier.
Yeah. It's not, I would say, not an unusual name, but it's not a common name.
Yeah.
So to have two in the same place it's Xavier. So I'm pumped to bring this guy
X
on.
Squared.
It's X squared.
Just the two of them in a room is algebra.
And someone said that the X3000 thing was that Xavier is going to fly to where they are in the US, which is pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet. Yeah, save up for that. Yeah. And then come to our Patreon afterwards and get all of our amazing benefits. All right, now here we have the man, the myth,
the legend,
Xavier.
The man, the myth, the legend,
Mortimer. Welcome to the show, man.
Hi guys.
Hey, Xavier.
Oh, here's a question. Can you?
I hear you very far away. I don't know why. Is there something that I need to change or something?
Oh, it's all your fault. No. Let's do this. We'll pull this a little closer to us as well. He says that we sound very far away. Mm-hmm. Can you hear everything now?
Yes, I can hear. Can you say something, Xavier?
We can do this.
Want to
as
check?
Well.
Yes, it's me.
Perfect. We're good. All right.
We're good there. Can you hear us okay now?
It's a little. I don't know why. It's really there's not a lot of sounds.
I'm gonna.
Maybe it's me. What kind of setting should I?
We're going to. I'll adjust our mic settings. Is this better, Xavier?
Go ahead.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually when I do the meetings, it's really louder. I don't know. Maybe I'm not on speaker or something. Is there something I could?
Oh, okay.
Let me check standard. No, it doesn't allow me to go on speaker. Huh. Go ahead.
How's this?
Can you hear us now? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear. It's just not loud. So, but we can go. We can go for it.
Awesome.
We're all good.
We're all good.
It's all right. Our viewers are here for it. So if we need more time to fix stuff, they
love it. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. I was telling people before when last time I was in Vegas, I came and saw your show with a few friends. We all went out for drinks and stuff after. And I said, of all of the shows that I've seen in Vegas, and I've pretty much seen everything, your show is the show that I tell people first to go see. And second, it's because you are doing things on stage every single night that most magicians, let's be honest, wouldn't have the balls to do every single night.
Would never attempt.
They're like, no, that's too much work. And like with the juggling and all the other things that you're doing, like it's just crazy what you do day in and day out, and it's flawless, which is the best part. So
how much rehearsal does that take once you've got the show up and running? Now that you have the residency going, do you need to keep constantly refreshing and refining those skills, or is it just like a well-oiled machine?
It's a well-oiled machine, but you gotta keep your foot in it. So right now I'm working a lot outside of the show because most of my acts are kind of like tight, and a lot of the acts that I do in the show are like things that I've presented maybe 2,000-3,000 times, so I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But there's always, it catches up with you if you don't pay attention too much, like little details and stuff. Recently, I've been not overseeing things, and it starts to like kind of fall apart because you can delegate until a certain, up to a point. But I would say now the good thing is like, yes, I've built my act over the years, and it's inside of me. It's me. It's been so much work, and now I'm just doing it. Like there's acts like my Diabolo act, like you said, the juggling things.
Yeah.
I just do it. I can be drunk. It can be the middle of the night. I just do it, and I know.
Through it.
It's funny because I heard that story about a rock star. I was touring in Europe, and there's this lady. She was like, "Oh, just before you, that was this person. She's like a big rock star in Europe." And she said like she would barely walk. She had someone like carry her on stage. And when she's on stage, she's like all over the place. Wow. And she's doing the concert. And right after the show, someone's like literally carrying her, like she's old. And so that's where I am right now. I could be sick. I could be like depressed. I'm it's just inside me. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to show anything, any signs of like, this is just what I do. I'm going to go on stage, do my thing, and smile.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Ali literally brings you to the stage. And says,
in 20 years, yes.
Yeah. No, that's a great thing, right? Is once you've done, and I mean, we would both say, like, I know the biggest thing I tell people that are always like, oh, how do I get my show better? How do I do this? I say, do it 1,000 times. And like you said, you've done the show 2,000 or 3,000 times, some of the acts, right? And so you can tell. And I think that's the best part of seeing a show like yours is you go, no one could just do this show tomorrow. Like if you were sick, no one is stepping in your place and doing that show.
If I was sick, I would do it.
Yeah. Where a lot of shows, though, like you watch someone's show and you go, that person could be filled in with anybody right now, so, which is unfortunate. I mean, obviously you don't want to see that in Magic, but yeah,
it's also a question of maybe a personality. You polish and polish. I was a good friend with someone you might have heard. He's a big star in Europe too. His name is Arturo Brachetti. Does quick change stuff.
Yeah.
And he told me one day, he says, I would like to have. I'm talking with this production. He's working with Just for Laughs. I'm talking with my producer into having someone doing my acts. I was like, wow. And he's like me. I know he's been building his act since he's like, 18 years old and on stage every day in cabaret, Paradis Latin, Crazy Horse, everywhere. And I was like, wow. And later he came see me and said, it didn't work out. I was like, yes, it didn't work out because no one can do what you do. You work so much for that. You are you. This is your brand. This is you, and no one can step. And I've seen also sons of people, famous people, stepping in to their dad's acts that their dad has created and performed thousands of times. It was so good that they have their son. It doesn't always work out, like that. It's an identity. It becomes an identity. It's really it's really tough. But I would be so happy actually to be able to have someone like a mini duplicate of me that's gonna stay on stage when I don't want or when I'm too old, But this is
you
not
could have gone the
possible.
tape face route. He's got 4 of him now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a whole franchise.
Exactly. No, there's acts that can do that. I know Tapeface can do that. There's the guy with the statue guy does that a lot. The laser guy used to do that too. There's a bunch of acts where mostly when you don't see the face, when it's like more like a concept, yes, you can do it. But when you have like an idea and you say this trick is for me, because this is how I've been thinking my entire life. I'm like, I see a lot of magic and I'm inspired by a lot of magic. And sometimes there's something I'm like, that's really cool. That's me. That's what I want to do. This is where I want to go. This is the kind of magic that I think is magic. If I see a mentalist trick, for example, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, it's a cool trick, but yeah, sure. But if I see something visual and like kind of how to say with a lot of rhythm or something, or it will struck me and say, I want to do something with that. I want to do something with that concept, with that idea, and maybe let's push it in a way that no one has pushed it before.
Yeah, so it sounds like you have always. Oh, I'm hearing myself, so I have to do that because it's like a speech jammer. But it sounds like you have always then kind of had that sense of what is true to me, what am I interested in, what do I think is magic, not necessarily what do people tell me magic's supposed to be. I remember the last time I saw you in person, we were talking about your clarinet piece. Do you still perform that in the show?
Yeah.
And that's something that only you would create because it's true to you and your background as a musician. Is that something that you've always done? Because sometimes we get a lot of comments on here that are asking, oh, how do I put myself into my magic? How do I make it more me? Did you always have that perspective of what is magic to me and just create something that was true to yourself? Or did you have a transition moment of going, oh, now I'm going to start doing magic that's more like me instead of, just off the shelf?
I think we all have it inside of us. I've been performing I've been inspired by people and performing people's trick when I was younger. You start like this, you have you go to a lecture or you go to a magic convention and you see that and you're like, oh, I'm going to do that in my show. And I stopped doing that when I started to write, really sit down and say, what do I want to do now? What's magic for me? What if I had a magical power? What would I? Oops, sorry about that. What would I do? How? Also, mostly the main question that I was asking myself is, what would I like to see on stage? It's not about what I want to do. It's if I was sitting in that theater right now, what do I want to see? And you picture what you want to see. And I've seen shows when I was younger, I've been influenced a lot by things outside of magic. Actually, I was not more into magic. I kind of left magic at some point and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do acting and music and stuff because I don't know. I just wanted to take a breath. And I've been influenced by all these arts, and I was like, yeah, that could be cool to mix that with this and have this character kind of growing into his world of magic. And then I saw Cirque du Soleil, and I was like, that's really cool. They have developed like a whole world around like basically gymnastics. That's no more than gymnastic tricks. So why can't we do that with magic? Why can't we like just put a trick and build a world and bring people into a world? And that's what I've been trying to develop my entire life. Of course, there's many things that are in the way, like first, showmanship. You have to show who you are and what you do on stage. Of course, you don't have unlimited resources. You have to do simple. You can't like have those big pieces of set going on stage. And then because we all have dreams like that. Like when I was 18, I wanted to create a musical, and I would be the Xavier Mortimer musical, with like 10,000 dancers and an elephant appearing. But you can't, because you realize that there's an economy behind, and maybe when you're Siegfried and Roy, you can do that. But you're not Siegfried and Roy for now. So let's try to see what you can do with your skills. So I built that, and I try to also always be true to myself, saying, how would I tackle that trick? How would I see if I was doing a card trick? What would be what would I like? There's a lot of things that we are inspired by, like classic tricks, things that we've seen. But how do you make it yourself? What can you say with that trick? How would you do it if you want to be you? And that's always the question that I'm asking myself.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny that you said about like combining gymnastics and stuff into magic, because I remember the first time I saw you perform was at Magic Live.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to say that you weren't really well known in the magic industry, but at least in North America at that point, I would say that you weren't really a household name with magicians. And I was there actually with Justin Flom, and we were watching your show, and you were doing the broom routine, because you did your mirror routine, and then you did the one where you're sweeping, and you did like, I don't want to call it a flip, but like a cartwheel thing. I don't know what it's called, the technical term of the gymnastics term, but when you did that, I remember everybody like shit their pants, and you got standing O's at everything at Magic Live, and I think it was probably one of the best Magic Lives ever, and you absolutely crushed it. So because I think for the first time it was people seeing magic, at least in North America, where someone was combining a bunch of different things and rhythm and stuff like that with the music and stuff, and it made Dancing Cane actually something legitimate. Like it wasn't a cheesy, glow in the dark cane, light up cane. It was a broom handle, which made sense. It was like, wow, why didn't anyone think of this before? So
actually, it's funny about that. There's a story behind that. So here's the way I built that act. I love the dancing cane, and like you said, I was a dancer. I learned like proper ballet dance and stuff, and I was like, your body can move with the cane, like you can really do it. And I remember Copperfield has kind of this feeling in his dancing cane. He was really moving with his dancing cane. That was amazing, and I wanted to really push like again the boundary and do the thing. So I do my dancing cane in the streets, because it's funny. I don't know if you know that, but with the lighting in the streets when it's dark, you don't see the thread. So you're literally outside.
Hang on a second. Did you just say thread?
Sorry about that.
I know. I'm just saying what? We were talking about before you came on.
It's magical.
We said if there's one guy that could be a wizard in magic, that it was you. And so now you've just spoiled that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're kicking him off the podcast right now.
Get out of here, fake wizard.
Not a wizard.
All right. Okay, we're back.
So, anyways, I'm doing my magical thing in the street, which is amazing because people are like, it's literally in front of their eyes, and everyone freaks out. In the audience, it was in a festival. And my manager was here, and a week later, he calls me, say, hey, or maybe a month later, say, I've got this TV gig for you. It's like a big one in France. It was the equivalent of being on Ellen. I was like, wow, let's do it. And he said, can you send me some tape? And I sent my Symbols act, which I'm very proud of. And the TV was like, you have something else. And he says, send me your thing that you did in the street. Like, just send it to me. I was like, I have nothing. I don't have anything. Just send me the thing. I sent, like, literally, I put my camera. I do the thing with my movement and the cartwheel and everything on a random music. And the TV says, okay, you're on next Tuesday. I had 3 days to build an act for that thing. And I had to come up with everything, music, costume, ideas, choreography, everything. I sent like literally 30 seconds of the thing. So I come up with the idea of a broom. I was, if you see that, the thing is on YouTube right now. And it was my kind of first breakthrough. I was like, I had like, how do you call that? Those thing for workers, you know, with the... like
overalls?
An overall, yeah. I had an overall on me, and I was sweeping the stage, and I was like looking at the audience. And then I do my routine. And a lot of people call me after that, and I remember Luis de Matos. I don't know if you know him. He's a famous Portuguese magician. Calls me. He's like, "Wow, that was fantastic! I didn't know your existence. Who are you?" I was like, "Mr. de Matos, thank you so much."
Yeah.
And a friend of mine comes to me and say, that's very interesting that you're using the broom for dancing game. Did you know that Doug Henning did that like 40 years ago? I was like, what?
Wow.
And that moment I realized, I was like, wow, so you never really come up with like something completely new, because I just learned, and I looked at the tape, and yes, Doug Henning in his 1980 special did flying broom. It was just a quick movement. He was in a kid's room and like cleaning up things, and he does dancing broom that was flying. I was like, wow, you think you come up with things and new ideas, and no, everything is being done already.
Crazy. Well, you definitely revolutionized it then, and made it its own cool thing. Like,
no, it's different.
Yeah, Doug might have made it move a little bit, but Doug was not doing cartwheels.
No, I'm the only one who does the cartwheel.
Yeah. So
and I don't think the idea of a flying broomstick is original to magicians. Even, you know, it's like
there's those witches that came before us.
Yeah, those witches. Those darn witches.
But should we hit him with it? What do you think? Right away?
Oh yeah. Do you know what time it is?
Do you know what time it is?
It is 9.
It's time for 20 questions.
Time for 20 questions.
You gotta hear the song, Xavier. It's time.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. It's time for 20 questions. It's time for 20 questions. Yeah. It's time for 20 questions. It's time for 20 questions. Yeah. Put 2 minutes on the clock. 2 minutes on the clock. Put 2 minutes on the clock. 2 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
All right.
Boom. It's time.
You have 2 minutes on the clock.
We're gonna ask
2 minutes to answer 20 questions.
We're gonna ask you rapid fire questions.
Wow.
You got to give us good, honest, truthful answers. No cop out ones like you, or the same answer 20 times, because we've had that.
We've had that. Yeah, we've had that.
So we vetoed that.
Aussie
won that. So we will. When you're ready, are you ready?
I am.
All right.
And you want to do question 1?
I'll do question 1.
3, 2, 1, go.
Dream vacation destination.
Hawaii.
Biggest pet peeve.
People people crossing the thing when it's red light.
Biggest mistake during a performance.
Oof. Biggest mistake during a performance. Oh man, so many. There's so many. Not not smiling when something goes wrong.
What always makes you laugh?
Mr. Bean.
What's your secret talent?
I play accordion.
What was the first time you ever saw a magic trick?
I was 6 years old, and it was the ashes in the hand.
Oh yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly.
Dream performance venue.
What was the name in the New York?
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, sure. This one.
Yeah. Most cherished memory.
Oof. Wow. Oh my God. Most cherished memory. I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, favorite food.
Favorite food. Cheese and potatoes.
Favorite movie.
Ooh, Funny Bones. You gotta see that movie.
What's the worst job you ever had?
I was moving manure.
You're moving manure?
Nice.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I was 16. I tried to make money for myself, and the guy is like, "I've got a huge stack of manure. Can you move it outside of my barn?" I was like, "Sure."
No, I mean that's respectable. Most magicians haven't had a real job, so
Ladies
like,
and gentlemen, that's why you tune in.
I stopped working when I started to do magic. So
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's why all of our viewers log in and watch, is to see that Xavier Mortimer, the absolute beast of a magician performing in Las Vegas, came from shoveling manure. So you guys can do
before
it.
his
You
name
can
was
do
in
it.
lights and he was on shining promo photos.
Yeah.
He was
You see that
shoveling shit
promo
like the rest
photo
of us.
in the background? He was not floating. He was on the ground shoveling shit.
It was a very different background for that promo photo.
Yeah, that would be. You need to find a photo of that. That would be a great.
oh my God, there's none.
He's got his pitchfork in one hand. He's
doing cartwheels with the pitchfork, just levitating the shovel.
That's where the broomstick could go. No one has ever done a dancing pitchfork. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that it's a dangerous weapon, but that could be awesome.
Yes, we had a question. Someone asking about Tigger T was asking about advice getting started with juggling.
Well, you just there's some little books or tutorial online. It's the best way is to just grab 3 balls from any juggling shop and watch a tutorial. It's pretty easy. It depends what you want to do. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of tricks. Juggling with 3 balls is probably the easiest thing.
Did juggling come pretty naturally to you?
Yeah, I just picked it up when I was a kid. Like I picked up magic, like I picked up acrobatics. I just was in my yard and just trying to do things. And I kept the things that I was good at.
Out of all of the things that you've put in your show, the acts that you've worked on, which one took the most work? Which one didn't come the most naturally to you? That was really hard, and you eventually got it in the show because you were committed to that idea.
It's funny because I removed that act in my show actually last year. So when I opened at the Strat in a much bigger room, that act was too small, but I think it was one of the most difficult. It was an act where I was making appear a guitar, and then I was playing Elvis and stuff. It was so difficult, and the audience was like, "Yeah, it's okay." And I was thinking that the relationship between like hard work and reward was not enough, so we took it out of the show. But I kept that act for maybe 10 or 15 years, and also I think that act was very clowny, very European, and it worked really well when I was performing that in France. But when I came to the US, I was like, this is not the type of humor they want to see in Vegas. So I still like that act. I will perform that act, but this is one of these. There's one recently that took me a lot of work, and I really hope you can see the show because I'm extremely proud of this act now. It's a very simple act. It's an act with a balloon that I presented on Full Us. So it's a thing that a friend of mine showed me a long time ago, and he sold me the idea of a balloon that goes up and down. And the process is so good to do this. But I found a story about it. It was like, if you've seen my Full Us appearance, I touch the hand of the spectator and the balloon goes up. It's poetic and it's sexual at the same time, so it's perfect. And then at the end, when she kisses me, the balloon pops like if I had my moment, And it's really strong because people love that. It's extremely sexual, but it's at the same time, it's so poetic and so cute that you can't say it's tacky. And I believed in that act, and I spent probably $3,000 to $4,000 into making it work because this thing was a headache. We had to rebuild, and I worked with some guy in Spain that was sending me some parts, and some guy in France who was sending me another part, and then I worked with the team on Penn and Teller to like build this whole thing because there's like. It looks like so simple, but it's so complicated. We have spent like 6 months working on that. And today, I'm so proud of that act because it's one of the highlights of my show. People love that. There's interaction with the audience. There's this moment where everyone's really like cracking up because this lady doesn't know what's happening to her. And it's original magic. And it's very rare that you have something original like this. That comes up and that you can perform every night, because sometimes you have an original idea and you're like, oh gosh, that's too complicated to put together. And this one we worked, and I was very lucky to work with a friend of mine whose name is Aurelia, who's been working really around the clock to make this work. And every time I call him, no, this is not working, you have to send me another one, and I need one more half inches on this, and you need to make the thing bigger and smaller. And I'm like, and we finally made it. So that was a hard work, and I'm very proud of it now.
That's great. Wow.
Nice. Now, I know that you moved into the Strat, and you said it's a bigger space, yes?
Yeah.
Which is awesome, because when I saw your show, you were at it was at Planet Hollywood, right? Before
it was at
Valley,
Planet Hollywood. Yes, I was in a comedy club. Yes.
Yeah. No, he's in Planet Hollywood upstairs. Or what at least seemed to be upstairs when I was there. But I remember the room being very, very small, and I came in and I said, wow, this is crazy that you're doing all of this acrobatic stuff on this stage that's pretty small.
Yeah.
And I sent my friend there after to go and see the show, and he said the same thing. He goes, I can't believe that his room is so small. Like, this place should be packed with like a way bigger audience. So yeah, it's great to hear that the Strat is a bigger space for you. So
yes, it's at least it's adapted to us. The thing is, Vegas, you can't start too big, because if you are in a 600 seats room, like you have to fill it up. So if you start, you're gonna die like in 5 minutes. And we've seen magicians doing that, like coming, hey, I'm gonna have the Tropicana, or I'm gonna have the whatever, the Paris, and those acts, they died almost instantly, because you have to make it run. You have to like go the hard way. It took me like 2 or 3 years to make myself a name and really suffer and work, be here every night, make sure that the audience, and polish the act. And now this year they offered me that room, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready. We are ready to like fill up that room, and we're ready to take the risk and go bigger. And that's the goal. We needed to grow up, and I'm very happy now.
Nice.
Yeah. And especially with Vegas, it's like, it seems that a huge part of that is marketing, is just being able to get people to see the show. Because regardless of how great the show is, if you can't get people to go to yours versus all of the shows that are out there in Vegas, then nobody finds out about it. And you've done a really incredible job of building your name and your reach through social media this past 2 years, say. I mean, I know that you were really present on it before, but I think you would agree that like you really ramped it up during COVID. What was that like, that decision to transition and kind of do social media full time?
Well, I was on TikTok, kind of like posting my short videos before the pandemic, and just before the pandemic, I started to have like viral videos, and that's very, rewarding. And when you have a viral video, you want to post another one, and you want to have this, like, you become an addict. You want to have that million views. You're like, damn, I'm gonna produce and until I have that other million views. And the pandemic hits, and this is when Rick Lax called me and say, hey, we might you might want to do some bigger videos, like longer videos. And I was like, sure, what is it about? And he explains me what it is about and how to get into the Facebook world. And I start producing things, and I realized the impact that we can have here on social media. I realized that there is a place for creating some good content, and there is a place because there is the money, there is the views, and I'm gonna take a risk now. And I decide to start building like real illusions, like big illusions, which has never been done on social media. Because if you see all the social media people like Julius Dean and all the people who started on social media, they did little tricks in the streets, But no one has taken the risk of like building a $5,000 or $10,000 prop to shoot a 3-minute video that you don't know if it's gonna have 10 views or 10 million views.
Yeah.
So because I felt that momentum, that thing, I was like, I'm gonna spend money, I'm gonna take a risk, and I'm gonna build those illusions. And I came up with ideas, and I wanted to put some good magic out there and something that I had never been seen. And suddenly those videos, they hit like crazy. And I remember talking with some people who said, magic doesn't work on social media. You shouldn't spend that money. And I was like, you know what? Even if I have to spend my own money, I'm going to do it because I want to put some magic out there. Okay, let's do it. And we hit, like constantly. There was like just nonstop hundreds of millions of views on every video. And in the end, I produced my videos now. I was filming today on the strip, and it was a real, like, it was a filming crew. There was people with security. There was some people. I think we are producing a very cool stunt on a taxi. That's gonna be my next video. Nice. We're going down the strip on a suspension on a taxi cab.
Wow.
And I spent so much money on that, and I don't even know if I'm going to get that money back, but now I'm not afraid of it. And I'm in that thing where I'm like, yes, I want to keep producing good magic. So social media was like a revelation because I wanted to have my TV show always. I wrote scripts, I talked to agents and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, so now I can just do it myself and like have the freedom of creativity, and I started to do that, and it worked. And that's also, there's a lot of people behind, and I really I'm grateful for Joaquin Ayala. He's been building most of the illusions that I've been performing. That video that you are showing here was the most viewed video on YouTube Shorts.
Really?
Forever.
It's got out of not just you, just everybody. It is the most viewed video on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, forever. I was in front of Zach King and everyone. It's crazy to think about it.
That's incredible. Yeah, I think you really created this kind of consistent theme in so many of your videos that I thought was so great, was that you were really showing what the lifestyle of a magician would look like if you really could do magic in the real world. Like, for example, here at Starbucks, it's like, what would it look like if you were just able to just casually do these things? And I think people see you doing it and it looks so effortless, and they don't realize the fact that you're putting so much work in to make it look that effortless. And it's really great to see how much work that you put in and how high quality your videos are and how many takes it must take to get it to look that perfect. When you see so many social media magicians where it's like, oh, quantity is more valuable than quality a lot of times with the algorithm. They're like, if I post 6 times a day and I only do 1 take of all of those videos, then I'll get more content and more chances of going viral. Whereas you were like, I'm going to just make each of these videos as great as I possibly can in high production quality, and that will be enough. And it seems like people have gravitated towards it because you're putting more effort in than anybody I've seen on social media.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a two-edged sword because there's videos that I've put a lot of thing and a lot of effort in, and they didn't reach 1 million, and it's very disappointing, and I lose a lot of money. But there's videos that are hitting hard and that make me famous. Like literally, when I did the cart in the supermarket, it was like people still talk about it and say, "Oh, I sent that video to all my friends," and everyone like loves that video. So that's worth doing it, but it's a dangerous game. I just chose to do that because I really want to leave something. That was my goal. It's not about making the most money or having the most views. It's about like just doing something cool and something that's gonna hopefully last.
Yeah, definitely. Now here's a question that came in from Chaotic Coins. And it's an interesting question because I know we know you as like the stage performer and stuff. So he said, what's your favorite trick to perform anywhere? So if you're just walking down the street and someone runs into you and says, Xavier, you have to show me a trick right now. What's your go-to?
So there's many different situations. There's first there's the situation where you have nothing.
Yeah.
Second, there's the situation where you go out but you take your double cross pen.
That's awesome.
And third,
essentially the first trick you
what's
ever saw.
What's the third option?
Very close.
Yeah.
And there's the situation which is kind of planned, and when there's the TV or something, you can do that in a snap. So the situation where I have nothing, I literally come out and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do magic tonight, and someone says, oh, you're a magician. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna do some magic tonight. And what I usually do is the toxic one, where I do the calculator and I find the phone numbers of the person, because I have a cool way to find the phone number like very fast. And people really freak out on this one because I found a good way to present it. So there's this, and also the thing, you know, when you go the glass through the table, it's always a very impromptu, like super easy and very big reaction. The lipstick on the hand is pretty efficient. So I would say, like, when I have nothing and I'm like literally traveling or doing something, that would be the go-to. Now, if you tell me, hey, you're gonna go out and maybe you're gonna show some tricks, and I'm in a good mood and I want to show some tricks that night, if I have nothing and I'm in a rush, I'm gonna take my double cross pen and just put it in my pocket, and I know someone's gonna ask something and I'm gonna ask their hands like this, and you know what to do. But then there's this trick that I made up that I would present always, and there's an interesting story behind it. It's a thing, I have a piece of tape and I put it on my shirt and I do this and it turns into a tie. Mm-hmm. And I created that trick for Friends Got Talent a long time ago. I was doing an act with only tape, and I would turn into Fred Astaire by just putting tape on me, and one would turn into a tie, and then the costume would become like with a raise, and I would make appear a hat and a flower, and I would dance like Fred Astaire. And that was this trick inside. I was like, that's a cool idea because it's very visual. I published that into Magic Magazine, and later I forget about that trick. And a guy named Adam Shayer, I don't know if you heard of
Siri.
him.
Yeah.
Adam Shayer is Siri. Yes, the Siri guy. Adam is a good friend now, and he calls me and says, Xavier, he writes to me and says, Xavier, I'm gonna go see your show and I'm a big fan. And by the way, I'm using your trick on all my lectures. And the guy introduces himself as the inventor of Siri, and he's lecturing all over the world to the big CEOs and everyone. He's like, you know what? Every time I open my lecture, I take a piece of tape, I put it here, and I turn it into a tie. And I was like, wow, that must be a good trick then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
that was the moment you realized it was a good trick. After
He's like the guy that created Siri is doing my trick.
I'm like, wow, that's very impressive, and we become friends. But I go and I look in my drawers and I pick up my thing and I'm like, okay, let's work on it and make it look good. So I redesign my whole thing and I make it look like clean and be able to do it anywhere. And I start to do that trick over and over, and I realized the impact. Like now, I've done maybe 20 or 30 local TV shows or presentation, or and 100 of appearance on a red carpet, or can you do something for us? And I always do that trick. The impact is so good. I can just do this and that's it.
Yeah, it's so strong. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Does that. Yeah.
Someone else, Coinworker said, what trick looks the most like real magic to you? So have you ever seen a trick, let's say something that's not in your repertoire?
Yeah.
You saw that you were like, wow, that looks like real magic.
Oh, there's tons of them. There's like, I wouldn't know how to say, because I'm always there's always something that like I'm like, wow, what's happening? It looks like real magic, and then you learn the secret and it looks less like real magic.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many. I cannot count, and sometimes I don't even want to know how it's done because it really looks like real magic. Just a card trick, I've seen things. I'm like, what? Like anything. Anytime I'm fooled, it's just a matter of taste. There's something that would touch me more if there is a good story behind it. I would say. There's acts like that are memorable. Like if you see the flying from David Copperfield, you're like, yeah, that guy can fly for real.
Yeah.
For sure. And close up magic. I mean, I really love Shin Lim's approach on cards. It looks like real magic what he's doing. Like it's really strong. There's so many. I'm a very good audience with magic.
He's like, I don't know how anything works. I'm a great audience right now.
No, on top of my head, I have no answer for you here, but there's many tricks that are like really strong. Let me think for a second. Something that really is strong. No, I would say that most of the illusions that I see, I mean, I would say 90% of the time when it's well done, it really looks like real magic. The only difference that I would see is like sometimes I can be fooled, and sometimes I'm really like into it. So if you present a mentalist trick or a card trick where it's just basically you finding a card or putting a card between two other cards, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. But sometimes you're gonna do an illusion and you're gonna tell me something that's gonna draw me with you, and I would be like, oh my god, I just experienced magic now, and that will make the difference to me. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now at this point, because you now have your show back open, and now it's open at the Strat, and during that time when the shows were closed, you start this kind of second career in social media and end up being very successful at it. So how do you now manage your time between those two things? Are you during the day shooting videos and then heading to the theater and then doing a show and then like not sleeping? Like what does this look like?
And at night I do interviews.
Yes,
exactly.
And we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. So literally today I started at 7. We filmed we had a filming from 9 to 12. Then I came back home and I did a Japanese TV session from 1 to 4. I went to the show and I came back here and I did that. So that's my days. I don't stop working. I'm just like work, and well, I need to take some time off, but it's exciting, I think there's a moment you have to do it, and I've learned that like for example, Robert Houdin, who's I cannot say I'm a big fan because I've never seen him live, but I read about him and about his work, and he made everything into a very short period of time. And this is a moment. This is the moment that you can create, that you can put your life into what you do. That's not going to always last because, you know, we all have lives and we all have things that we want to take care of. And for me, this moment is now. So I'm taking it, and it's going to be a few years. And I really hope I can give everything to achieve the success with what I'm trying to do.
I think that was a mic drop right there.
That's a mic drop.
Like, oh, we need to change from Magic After Dark. Yeah.
Yeah. So we learned actually when we did the 2-minute countdown, the 2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah,
someone commented, "Oh, we haven't changed our logo." So Xavier, I don't know if Blaze told you, but tonight is the first. So we've been doing a series called Magic After Dark for about a year now. This podcast, and so we decided to take this thing to the whole new level. So today is the first time I've ever met Blaze.
It's actually the first time that we're in the same studio.
That's interesting.
Usually he's in Connecticut and I'm in Canada. And so we've never met. And so I picked up Blaze today. And so we started this whole new thing, this whole new journey, working on all these different projects. But so we decided a couple weeks ago that we were going to rename the show. And so tonight, before you came on, we came on about a half hour before you came on, and introduced the whole new show, which is All Access
Magic. So instead of being episode 50 something of Magic After Dark, you are now episode 1 of All Access Magic, the new show. So yeah,
it was the best way to kick it off.
But thank you. It's an honor for me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, we know that your schedule is absolutely insane as well with performing stuff. So you like literally came off stage and then hopped on here. So
he was like, "Oh, I'm heading back from the theater."
Yeah,
I was like, "Wow, okay."
So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, in the comments, throw some appreciation this guy's way because. I mean, dedication to the art of magic.
Yeah, he's filming viral videos in the morning, Japanese TV shows in the afternoon, doing a show in Vegas, which would be a full-time job for most. And comes on our show as well afterwards because he's that great of a guy. And would you say, though, with what you were talking about just now, the idea that that right now you feel that you're putting your all as much as you can into making this dream a reality. I mean, your show literally is the dream maker in Vegas at the Strat. But do you feel like if someone is a young magician that's trying to start out and they're trying to actually pursue a career in magic, what are some other pieces of advice that you'd give? But is that really what you'd say to them? Is that's what it takes? Put your all into it as much as you can?
Yeah. I don't think there's a shortcut. You just have to go like really hard. And I've talked to every successful magicians, and you see them from outside, and you realize when you talk to them personally, you realize that there's always a really hard work and a difficult story behind it. Like it's never granted. Like you have to go for it. You have to dedicate a lot of time into what you do. And yes, at some point you're gonna go away and go back to it, but there's always a moment where you're gonna be just alone in your world, and that's unfortunately for a lot of artists, and not just magicians. It's comedians and singers and great artists. If you want to do something, you have to go for it.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that most people don't see. Oh, I mean, everybody doesn't see is they hear like, "Oh, you're a magician. Oh, great." And when they hear that, I mean, obviously, if you're in Vegas, you're doing a show that's a little bit different. But when most people hear, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" "I'm a magician." "Oh, that's cool. You do like sponge balls or, like little rabbits or something like that." That's their first impression of what a magician is, right? And then they think, "Oh, well, you just do shows." Right. And it's like, well, yeah, all you do is your show. And it's like
1 hour a day.
Yeah. It's like, no, there's hundreds of hours a year that goes into all the stuff behind the scenes. And like, booking shows and contracts and talking to clients and doing Japanese TV shows and, you know, all of that stuff that goes into stuff that people don't see on a regular basis. So it's great to hear kind of the behind the curtain of what goes on a daily basis. So
absolutely.
And there's
what were you gonna say?
No, it's every magician has a special dedication. So it's not just the people who are in the spotlight. We are in the spotlight because we've built something that can be in the spotlight. But there's a lot of people that I know who are not in the spotlight, who are like creative and adding to the art of magic, and they work as hard as us, you know, and sometimes they don't even get that reward that I have, because I'm grateful that I'm here and that I'm in front of you and that I'm the one doing my show and on the Japanese TV and having hundreds of millions of views. But there's a lot of people behind this, and I think it's a whole community, and we need to understand how. Like I'm really grateful of like all the people who have brought a little piece that inspired me in the art of magic.
Nice,
absolutely.
I guess I mean, this is kind of we try not to ask too many typical questions, but I guess who would be some of your inspirations? Like, I mean, right away I would almost compare, and I mean not a comparison, but like to me, like Charlie Fry is someone, you know.
Oh, really?
That, I would say that just because of like for comparing magicians in doing what you guys do is like he's taken a bunch of different things, juggling and stuff like that, and combined it in. But yeah, who are some of your inspirations?
My greatest inspiration is Charlie Chaplin. I would say it's like totally out of the magical world.
Yeah.
So I came to the magical world by the circus, by all these things. I wanted to learn it all when I was a kid, and I was really inspired by those clowns. We have in France mostly, we have a huge tradition with clowns and physical comedy, and I was really drawn into that. I almost like didn't do magic. My first show was like a mime show. It was a lot of magic inside, but I didn't call it a magic show. It was a mime show. It was named the Shadow Orchestra. I would play music. That was the clarinet thing. Play music, my shadow would split, and a lot of things happened. I shrunk that show to a 3-minute act now, but that was the first idea. And I was touring. I was pretty successful with that. So I would say Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton definitely is a big inspiration. And later, when I grew up and I understood more about magic, I really was inspired by people like David Copperfield and Doug Henning, where there was really a storytelling behind the magic, and I went into that realm, like just bringing people into your world, like mixing all that circus skills and comedy that I learned, and doing something magical rather than just a magic trick.
Absolutely
nice.
Wow. Yeah, I think that a lot of people, when all of your inspirations in magic are just other magicians, then you start thinking, oh, that's what magic is. It's what's been done before. Whereas it seems like because your background was already just as a performer, then magic to you was anything you could imagine. It was whatever you could put into a show and perform, you know, and that means that you have more things at your disposal than most, because, you know, you're like, oh yeah, I'm capable of these acrobatic things, and I can, you know, do flips and stuff. I can do handstands, so I can incorporate that as part of the choreography or even methodology of the routine. So it creates something. We all have, I think, something, you know, like unusual that we have been practicing, or like an interest. Some can play piano and mix it with magic, and I think it's great. Some can just sing and do magic, and it's just, you know, I just had these skills that I learned and I didn't know what to do with, so I decided to put it into magic.
Nice.
I'm curious, was part of the decision when you said, oh, now we're ready to move to a bigger theater, now we could, you know, we could actually sell this out. was part of that decision related to the fact that you've gotten so much more exposure on social media recently and grown more of a following, or does that not translate necessarily as much to Vegas ticket sales?
No, it does. It does. Every night in the show, I ask people. I show a video that I've done, and I ask people, "Have you seen those videos?" And every night, I've got like a good 20 to 30% of my audience saying that. That means they have bought the tickets knowing that they knew me, and that means that they probably would not have bought my tickets to my show without knowing me, and that's a huge difference. And we knew it. We knew it would drag people, and it depends on what you do. You know, if you it depends the content that you do. If the content that I was doing was for that purpose too. It was also like, hey, look, this is what I can do. Come see me on stage. This is another way to express my art of magic, my character and my personality. So people got it. And I see a lot of people at the meet and greet saying, oh, we're following you. We want to see more videos. And yeah, it translates definitely. It's not the level of TV like AGT and stuff, but it's really, really strong. And it's going to get stronger.
Well, do you think so?
I think it's time.
I don't know if he's ready, but I think we're just
he's certainly not ready because we just had a deep, heavy topic. It's time to come up for air because we got a question for you.
Lasagna! What's your favorite genre of lasagna? Meat. Lasagna. Veggie. Lasagna. Plain. Lasagna. Saucy. Lasagna. What's your favorite genre of lasagna?
It's back.
It is back. Look at that. He just threw it out just fast. He knew it. It was like
back.
We
looked at each other. We had that look. We've never even had that opportunity in person before to be able to subtly
through the screen.
Through the screen, we have the look.
No, it's that time. But now it's like, it's that time. So,
Xavier,
what is
your favorite
genre
of lasagna?
Well, meat.
Just meat?
Meat.
Just straight up meat.
Just straight up meat.
I didn't know there was different genre of lasagna. To me, lasagna is beef with pasta and beef and pasta and beef and pasta, and that's it.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, you are true. That is true. That is all true.
We get some cheese and stuff, but we've got a lot of different genres of lasagna.
We've gotten a lot of different answers. We always find it really fascinating to ask magicians that question because it throws people off so much, and two, we get a lot of creative answers. And we've gotten, Steve Valentine said triangular
cut.
We've gotten Colin Cloud's favorite was reheated microwaved.
The next day,
Oh.
Yeah. When it all congeals together into like this blob of
lasagna,
I guess.
Which I don't think is. I mean, this is a Frenchman we're talking to. He doesn't even believe in microwaves.
No, I don't. I don't have a microwave in my house.
You don't have a microwave?
There's no microwave here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you don't. I thought I needed one when I bought the house. I was like, I need a microwave. First thing I'm gonna buy. And my in-laws said, now my in-laws, they weren't then, but they said, whatever you want, buy it. And 2 weeks in, I said, I really need a lawnmower, and because I got to cut the grass, and so I never bought a. By then, I was already like, I don't need a microwave, and so yeah.
So now, Xavier, are you constantly on the run between shoots and things? Do you have time to cook or like enjoy not microwaved food?
He's like.
Are you just running through drive-throughs all the time on your way in between this?
Viral video while going through the drive.
Yeah, basically it's getting hard, and I have to eat more healthy. But we're just going for it, and I'll eat better later.
You'll eat better.
I will one day be healthy.
I will one day be healthy, but not right now.
When I'm not
That's
performing.
a problem for future Xavier.
Yeah. But we also have a follow-up question to that question. So
go ahead.
Xavier, if you had one
meat lasagna
and you baked
a second
identical meat lasagna, and you place the second lasagna atop of the first lasagna, do you now have one lasagna or two?
It depends if there's cheese in between.
Oh, what's on top?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at our reference photo.
Lasagna.
It looked like it was a top layer of pasta. Was that
layer
cheese?
of pasta? Maybe it's a little cheese. Lasagna. It's got to be a little cheese on top.
There's got to be a little cheese on top. So if there's cheese on top, they become one big stack?
No, because
Oh.
Because if you have the cheese on top of the lasagna, then you add another layer. That's two lasagna. But if you don't have the cheese on top, then it's one lasagna.
I thought that the cheese was the joining bridge.
Yeah, I always thought the cheese would then stick the next set of noodles to like
it's
the
not
bottom.
Like, it's not like the glue,
because the bottom of the second lasagna would be noodle. So it would go on top.
I don't remember exactly how to make lasagna, but it seems to me that the cheese is only on top. But I might be wrong.
So we had a single person with a 2 as
I think you maybe. So what we have found asking this question over the last year is that if we were talking to two people, like a couple or a duo team, so like the Eversons, they said two. We had a couple other people on together. They always said two. Everybody that was on by themselves always said 1.
Oh,
so
wow.
you were the first person to say 2 by yourself. So that's interesting.
Interesting. Wow. Setting trends in the lasagna Olympics.
That's not even, he's doing things on TikTok that no one else is doing, and he's talking about lasagna like no one else. That's it, folks.
Now, how has it been incorporating? So Ali is also in your show, right?
Yes.
So Ali's in your show, sees in a lot of your content as well. And so was she interested in magic before all of this, or did she just get sucked into your dream, into your world of magic now?
Yeah, she got sucked into it. She said that she actually didn't like magic at first, and but she saw my show and was like, oh, that's interesting. Now I like magic. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And so she decided to do that. And of course, when you're with a magician, you become part of the thing. You become part of the cult.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's tough to avoid.
Yeah, well, it's actually funny though, because you say that, like when I met my wife at my show as well. She came to my show and I brought her up on stage, and now we're married. But our first date, she said, I never want to know how you do anything. And so to this day, I don't tell her how I do anything. If I'm trying out something new, she knows how a few things work. But I love that. That was a huge thing for me, because I was like, oh yes, someone that doesn't want to know all the secrets.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's fun to then fool her or show her a new thing that I'm working on, and she's like, wow, that was amazing, or because I always hate when people know everything. It's like you said before, once you learn the secret, it's not as magical anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, I want her to like still have that thought that this is like real magic. So
that's great. Well, she's a keeper.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're married now, so I don't. Not that I don't have a choice, but she is definitely a keeper. She's the best. So.
Whereas for you, Ali is the exact opposite.
Yeah,
she's involved in everything. She knows how everything's done. She's
She knows everything. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that made her appreciate magic more, knowing it, or less?
No, she's even tried to do some tricks. I taught her some tricks. She's done some TikToks with tricks. I mean, I don't know. I think it depends on your point of view. If you want to do magic, like I would not try to know a secret unless I wanted to perform a trick. It's like music. I don't want to. If you want to learn the music, it's when you play a song over and over and over, it becomes a little less interesting. I used to play songs that I really love, just to play them, just to hear them, and after a while, it's like, okay, that's the one's done. This next one now, and it's the same for magic. You learn the secret, you do it a couple times, and then you're like, no, okay, it depends. unless you create something by yourself. When you create something by yourself, it's very different. It's your baby, and you want to do it over and over and over until it's perfect.
Yeah, it's like tough. It's tough to get sick of it. Also, because like you keep finding new things to keep refining too.
Yeah. I think that's also a big thing for longevity. If you have your own act, if you have your own things that you have developed yourself that you really like, it's less hard for you to take failures. Like in the sense of like maybe there's gonna be a moment where you're not gonna make money, or maybe you're not gonna get booked, or maybe you're not gonna get a standing ovation, or maybe you're not gonna get an applause. It's really much less difficult to take it when you create something that is personal, and you can keep it performing longer than if you just have like a suitcase of like, okay, what works on stage, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do a couple years on cruise ships, and then I'm gonna become an agent, So creating your own stuff is also a good thing for longevity.
Absolutely. And speaking of creating your own things, we got a question from Mac Russell. He said, what is your process for coming up with original content and effects?
Oof, that's a tough one. It's images often. Like I remember very clearly the jump rope thing. So I made a trick where I fly with the jump rope, and it's become kind of my signature thing. I was kind of half sleeping, and I remember that animate thing where the girl was flying into a bubble, and I don't know, my brain kind of like flipped and say, oh, what about if that girl was having a jump rope and flying around above town with a jump rope? That would be super. Like it's a cool image. It's just a beautiful image. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but that's impossible. I write it down on my notes, and I talked to the girl I was with at the time. I say, hey, I've got this image. She's a magician. Do you think it's possible to do? And she's like, well, I think it's good enough that you have to try it. So even if it's impossible, try it. And I go and I inquire a lot of things about rigging and levitations and stuff. And I finally have my breakthrough moment where I find a solution that is not only doable, but easy to do. And I was like, wow. And that's when it came. And the real hard work came when we start to build the rig and make all the research into making it happen every day. But the concept was here. So this is one of the things that I built. So I basically just had an image, and I was like, let's try to put it together. And this is not the first time, and this is not the last time, but sometimes I have images that comes to me and they don't go nowhere. And sometimes they become like my entire life. Nice. There's other things where I'm just looking at a movie or going to a museum or something like that, and you see something that could look like something, and you're like, oh wow, that could be a good idea to do something like that, and I go in this direction and try to find something. And also there are moments where I can remember something, like I remember something that I've seen a long time ago, but in my mind it's kind of distorted, and I make up a new thing out of this thing that I've seen a long time ago. For example, I had for a long time. No, it's a different. I heard of it. So there's a guy who's named Pierre Brama who was juggling with coins, famous acts in the 70s. And I heard people said, he was juggling with coins and then he was making appear jewelry. And in my mind, it kind of got distorted, and I was like, okay, what if I juggle with coins, but then the coins become the jewelry. It's like they become like sunglasses with coins. They become like earring with coins, and it was totally not the act because he was literally producing crowns and real jewelry, And then I made up something that was completely original out of something that I heard that got distorted in my mind, and that thing that was a good idea. That was a fun idea. There's many process of creations of like for example, the carts that I did in the Walmart. I was flying in a cart into Walmart. It's one of the most successful videos I had. I saw a guy doing a handstand on a cart. I was like, wow. And at the same time, I was like, remember when you were a kid and you kind of jump on that cart and it rolls alone? And always, I was always doing that, and everyone's been doing that. I was like, that would be so cool if you were actually flying behind it. And the image came instantly, and I called Joaquin Ayala, with who I'm working with. And I'm like, Joaquin, we need to build that suspension. Can you do that? And he was like, oh, yeah. And he found out the method and everything. But I came up with the concept. And we did tries and tests and sets, and nothing worked because you have to balance the whole thing. We had to rebuild the whole thing. We have destroyed maybe 3 or 4 carts before doing that. And every time we had to pick up cars by the road.
Yeah, it's like drive-by cart stealing. Ladies and gentlemen, Walmart in the States, if you're in Vegas and you're missing a cart, go to Xavier's place. You may find it.
That's this, yeah. We would pick up carts on the side of the roads, like that was. But in the end,
we people out there looking for their cart.
He's just the 5-cart bandit.
Yeah, you're dumping all the cans out of them and stealing them off the highway.
There's so many ways that you can find inspiration. You just have to. Just go, and sometimes I just wake up super early and I spend like 2 or 3 hours just thinking of like images and just thinking, just reading and just in my world and trying to find good ways of doing some new stuff. There's another way, the symbols, for example, the Symbols Act. It's a very old act that came up to me. I had this show with the shadows and everything, and there was my manager said you missed like a big moment at the end, something where everything like goes crazy, and I don't know why. I say, what about I smash my symbols and everyone goes like it? To me, smashing symbols made a lot of noise and a lot of things that I was like something strong, and I said, yeah, it's great. And then I had this idea of like, I don't know why, like you smash the symbols and you open and something appears, and you smash and it appears, and I was like, oh, that's a cool visual. That's actually a good visual. And then after a lot of work came the whole idea with the glasses and everything that I did in my act. But the first time I presented that act, it was awful. It was really bad. But then, after like a year or 2 of work, it went really strong. The shadows, for example, I was at a concert, and there was a musician playing music center stage alone, and I don't know why I saw his shadow behind. I was like, wow, that would be super cool if his shadow was splitting and playing with him, and that became my signature trick for years.
That's awesome. That's the cool thing, I think, is a lot of people always ask us, like, how do you get inspired for things? And it's like there's inspiration around all over the place, right? And you just have to be open to accepting it and taking it and running with it instead of being like, oh, no, this is not my brainstorming session right now. It's like, you could be in the grocery store and see something, and then it's like, boom. I need to do that,
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like people are like, oh, what do you mean you're inspired by what's around you? It's like, well, it's not like I'm looking at this microphone and I'm just seeing a microphone, but you might look at something and see images in your mind that don't exactly exist in the real world. And then those are the images you pay attention to.
And mostly it's not just that, it's also don't be afraid. Like, I literally walked on stage doing something that was awful. But really awful. I posted content on social media that was awful. I proved it. I've done so many awful things, and what stays, it's what those awful things led me to, because I know that these awful things didn't work. So I went to something that works, and in the end it works. And in the end, people remember what you did that was great. They don't remember what you did that was not great.
That's a
big
mic drop right there. I mean,
well, good.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you know that something? How do you know if something is awful or good if you haven't tried? It's like that's the only.
Yeah, exactly. You just try it on stage, and I had these things, and it looked so good in my head, and I tried it on stage, and it was so bad. I was like, yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. And one day you do something like, one day you do something by mistake, and it's so good, and people always laugh. I don't know. There's things in my act I still don't know today why people laugh at it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jokes that I say, or oh yeah, there's a stupid joke that I say that came up to me. I said, now I toss balls in the audience and say, now you're gonna give the ball to someone that you don't know or someone that you don't like. And it's just one day I just said someone you don't like, and everyone was laughing at it. I was like, okay, that works. I don't know why, it just works.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you dissect the line and try and analyze why it's funny or whatever, it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, but at the same time, when you say it in the moment, people are so caught off guard that it's like it's a great laugh.
It is the funny thing is when you like if you took the line by itself, you're like, oh, it's not funny, you know. But in the situation, it's hilarious, right? It's odd how that works.
It's just things that come like just on the moment, and you perform and there's many stories on videos too when you film and suddenly something happens. Oh my god, there's this thing. I was doing the card at Walmart and someone honked at me, and we did another take and no one was honking, and I thought it was so good, and I put back the honk in the video just to make. Yeah. And today we were filming that taxi thing, and I said, oh, let's do a line where someone is honking at me just because it's fun, you know.
That's it.
And it just happens in the moment, and those moments, the gold moment that you're looking for. It's like I've seen like an interview from Scorsese. You know, he was saying that it's all your life work is revolves around those little moments that you're gonna find that are like not every day, not always, and you're gonna spend weeks without those. But one day there's gonna be something happening on set that's gonna be real cinema, like a real moment of good cinema. And like we're talking about magic now, real magical moment, something that's interesting that you will not find for maybe another month. And these are the moments that we're looking for, you know, the little nuggets inside the whole river.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you said that you had an act in your show that was in there for 10 to 15 years before you cut it, and then the fact that you said that you had a whole show that you turned into just 3 minutes of your act now, you know, it's like it was through all of those experiences that then you were able to know what you really wanted to hold on to, what was really the best. Yeah,
the shadow thing, I started with the shadow. So there was a simple idea. I saw that guy playing music, and I said that would be cool if your shadow was splitting. I had no idea how to do that. I have a friend in Russia. He's got like a whole like huge thing where he can work movies and stuff. And I called him and said, would you know how to like animate shadows behind me with the projection? I was like, come over in Russia, we're gonna work. And so we do that, and we were just working, and that guy says, hey, look what I did. And he took one of my shadow and made it spin in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's interesting, but look, what if I spin in the air? And I know that trick because my background as a magician, there was this trick where you would spin in the air, and I've seen that trick. It was created by a guy named Yogano. And I was like, let's make spin the 3 shadows, and then I spin, and it becomes a hit. And you never know what's gonna happen. And then I do this whole show where that spin was 1 minute of a 1 hour comedy, mime, and magic show. And Friends Got Talent calls me, say, can you do a little... Oh no, it was Le Plus Grand Cabaret du Monde. They call me and say, can you do an act? And I was like, what can I do? Say, whatever, just send a video. And I was like, okay, let me put a 5 minutes together. And I shrink my entire show to the best I have in like 5 minutes with those shadows, so the shadow split. And the act on TV becomes like a sensation. Everyone's talking about me in France at the time. That I remember that moment. Like I had TV stations like saying, "Oh, have you seen that magician?" I was like, "Wow!" And I was a nobody before. And then it became that signature piece that I bring all over the world. So yes, it's a lot of let's try this, let's do that, let's create that, let's do this. And on the road you have your little backpack and you put all the tricks, in the bag, the good moments, like the tie, like the jump rope. And after 20 years you look behind and you're like, wow, that's my world, that's what I created. That's my little toys, and that's my suitcase, and I carry it with me all around the world to put a smile on people's faces.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
And I'm curious about the what were you just...
Oh no, I said I think that's the most awesome part, is like just that line that you said, is like traveling around the world to put smiles on people's faces. Is like it's so genuine. Like, I can tell that's where the satisfaction comes for you as well, is seeing the audience.
We do that for that. I mean, I'm doing magic for that. It makes me feel good to have a good time with people. So it's what inspired me when I saw magic. When I saw those shows, I was so into it. I was like, wow, you took me out of me shoveling my manure. That's more fun, that's what makes me look at
it.
The
has
stars.
to be really good to get you to escape from that as your reality. Yeah.
There's nothing better than shoveling manure.
There's a callback from earlier.
That's a stark contrast from that. That's not exactly the impossible dream that we're looking for. But I was curious because you mentioned earlier the fact that the act where you said you were doing a little bit of an Elvis impression, or you were playing guitar, that translated more towards a French audience, and that it was maybe appreciated a bit more by the French audience. And when you're talking about like, oh, I've done some things in the past that, the audience didn't like, and that was how I learned to, to perform the things that they do like. What is that like when you're performing around the world and you have audiences in France, you have audiences in Vegas? Is there a big difference between those audiences? And, how do you create an act and have something that plays for both?
There are so I would not say there's a difference between audiences, because there are things that are universal, and that's what those things are making an international act. Like if you see some of the acts, the magical act that we know, the acts, the standards, the classic acts that we know, like Lance Burton and all these people, traveling the world with their doves and chatting Pollock. Those things are they talk to everyone. You can go to South Africa or Japan or China. You will have that moment. There are things that are more local. And when I'm saying local, it's like, for example, there's like little comedy skits and stuff that would work only in France, because it's kind of a private joke that is related to your culture. And people will understand that because you guys have the same culture. When you're French and you come to Vegas, you don't have the same culture. You don't have the same language. You don't have the same jokes. You don't have the same way to say hi to people. And there's a lot of things that are different, so you have to adapt. And the way to adapt that is that to move the things that were working in your culture, the private jokes that everyone knows. In my country, people are very into like physical comedy, clown, poetic, little things, very, kind of like very artistic and with a lot of thought behind. It's very important, like in theater, in magic, in every art, that there's a lot of thought in France, when maybe not here in Vegas. In Vegas it's more like, what do you have to show me? Like, show me. You can predict the lottery. Go ahead and show it to me. So it's more like a direct approach. And I had to remove those things that are very European without losing my personality, and go to a more global thing, like what hits every night, what gets the people every night to have a reaction about what I do, and what touches people every night.
And at this point, now that you've made an act that you feel like touches everybody and is more universal, when you go back to France and perform there or do anything there, do you do an act that's more European, or do you kind of do the same act now because that you feel like it's a bit of yourself and it's a bit of something that is mass appealing?
No, I will definitely keep those acts because they are much stronger than what I used to have. But I know that the audience that I used to touch in France, which was this kind of like audience that goes into theater, they would be less attracted by what I do right now, because it's more, like you say, universal and maybe a little less sophisticated. And I sent the show to my agent saying, hey, man, let's do a tour in France. He was like, oh yeah, but you know, it's like a lot of music and lights. And I was like, yeah, this is what we do in Vegas.
Yeah, that's what people like in
awesome.
Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would die if I was doing something like we do it even in Broadway. Sometimes you can see those like plays and everything starts in the dark and very like what's happening. It's amazing because the story and the thought behind is and the world that they created is amazing. But Vegas people don't have that attention span. You just have to go for it.
Sure.
Show me the magic.
Yeah, that's it. They want to see like fast pace in your face magic.
They're like, blow my mind right now. Come on.
Yeah,
the
most of them
attention
have
span
a
is
drink
not
in they have a drink and they just come from gambling and they're gonna go into nightclub and they're like just another thing that they want to see real quick. So unfortunately or fortunately, this is what we do. But I've noticed. I've seen Penn and Teller, I've seen Copperfield, I've seen a lot of shows here, and all of these shows, they know how to balance that out. You know, like you want to be in your face, but still you kind of keep your thing. You know, there's something like really that is you that you want to show to the audience, so you kind of mix it up with all these things, and it still makes a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's the coolest part is like, well, I mean, we've always said that about magic, right? Is that it's universal, that it can cross language barriers and stuff like that. But when you are creating something for Las Vegas, and like you said, your show now is more sophisticated than what you used to do, but it's inspiring to see that, like, as you're traveling around the world and you're dealing with these different cultures and stuff, that what you're doing there now is still as powerful. I don't want to say as powerful because maybe it's not as what it used to be because it was like the niche market in France, but like now you're playing to all of these different cultures and stuff, and things are still working incredibly.
Some of them. I remember. It depends also on your take on magic, because look, there's some really great magicians that I know and I've seen their shows, and their show would not be able to expand. And a friend of mine told me one day, you know, there's every artist has, like, when you have a take on something, there's potential for growth, or there's like really a niche. And but the shows that are smaller and more like, okay, you have to understand where you go. They're amazing, and I really love that. It's just that when you talk to like the mass audience, you have to go very simple. And I simplified so many things, and still I have feedback that some parts of my show are a little too complicated. You know?
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I had one last question that I was curious about, because you were talking about your journey getting to where you are right now as a Vegas headliner, and you mentioned the struggle of getting there. And when you were starting out in France, you were starting out with something that I think is also a lot more ambitious and difficult of a goal than most magicians, in that you are an illusionist, and you were trying to start off a career as an illusionist, which I think has a lot more of a barrier to entry than someone, say, like, Shin Lim talks about how for him, he got into cards because it was cheap at first. A deck of cards is a lot less expensive than what you're describing, these very many $1,000 illusions trying to design to make an idea happen. What was that like at the beginning, diving into trying to become an illusionist specifically, and starting your journey in France? And what was that struggle really like to get to where you are now?
Well, I learned how to weld, I learned how to bolt, I learned how to use a saw.
Wow. So you're one of the only magicians that know how to do all of that stuff. First, I just want to tell you.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I didn't have I didn't have that money, so I built everything, and it was very bad, but I built it and made it work. I fell.
So did you start off just kind of reading books and understanding how illusions were designed, and then just building it?
No, I've got a good friend, Serge. He's been always behind me and kind of helping me building those illusions and showing me like because he has also a lot of illusions, and he would show me like how they were made and the way to do them. But I've never had like a great skills in building, but I've always sewn, and I know I use the sewing machine and all these things. I've built all my stuff, like literally built my first show. I think I built everything. There was even an electronic thing in my show, and I built the entire I soldered the whole thing. You know, that tells you how broke I was.
Yeah.
But no, I did everything. I did all the shadows. I did my own editing. So I had my friend who taught me in Russia how to do it. But of course, I came back from Russia and nothing was working. And I was like, yeah, I have to redo it because it doesn't work. And I have to change the music, by the way, that I composed myself in my. I had a little closet, and I put 2 microphones, and I was playing every instrument for the music, and I would record instrument above instrument on like a 4-track thing, and that would be the music of my show. So then I would put a green screen in my little closet and record my shadows. So yeah, it was that was really interesting. You know, I learned a lot of things.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, that's incredible. That's what it takes. I mean,
yeah, that's what it takes.
It's always inspiring to see like and I don't want to say like you meet some people that, you know, I don't, and it sounds bad, is that they come from a lot of money and they're like, hey, I want that illusion, I'm gonna buy it, right? And it's like mom and dad just buy it. I always love to hear when people are like, yeah, I didn't have the accessibility to that stuff, so I just made it. Like I just learned to do it. And I think it gives you a different work ethic than someone it's easy enough just to buy everything and make it work, right? Because it gives you an understanding too of like when you build something, it gives you a better understanding of how that thing is made and how it works, rather than someone buying it off the shelf and going, okay, this works like this. You're like, oh no, like I did a dovetail joint there, and I did this because of this and stuff, right? And like there's just a better understanding of all that stuff.
Yeah, and you can probably also figure out how to improve upon it a lot more when you've built it yourself. You go, oh, this is what I could have done better, instead of going, oh, that's what I bought off the shelf, that's how it works.
Yeah,
and most illusions, they're made for like you can put 3 times my body inside. So when I made and designed my own illusions, which now I don't even touch a hammer because I have people and helping me, and mostly Ayala, who's working with me constantly. Like I designed it for exactly my size because I want it to be as thin as possible, as compact as whatever you name it. You know, like this is also the way to think. When I think of an illusion, I always like take the concept and, okay, what can I do better with this? Okay, I'm going to cut here. I'm going to do that. This is going to be round. This is going to be flat. And by the way, this doesn't work. Okay, let's do it again. And we do it again and until it really works. That's the way I approach illusion. Even a magic trick, like I've got shelves with tons of things that I bought. I've never performed them, like unless I would change like really something that, oh, I've got this idea to do with that trick that I bought. I'm going to change that by a Mentos thing, and this is going to go there. And then it becomes my trick. But all these tricks that I buy, I rarely use them. Double cross, I use a lot.
Double cross. That's the go-to.
That's a good way to end it.
That's a good callback.
Yeah.
So we talked about earlier in the episode before you came on that we are going to do some reviews of Magic and stuff, but I think we should. Do you want to just save that?
I think we should probably save the reviews for next week.
So because this was such an awesome kickoff episode, having you on. And I know that it's not super late there, but it is getting late, and you've had an insane day already.
And we know he's a morning person. He's up, like,
he's already getting up early. So we just want to thank you so much for coming on. You've been absolutely amazing and hopefully inspiring to all of our viewers tonight, that you know, to just continue to work and work harder, because like you're doing everything. So but yeah,
no, it's definitely been a very inspiring conversation. We're honored to have you on the show, so thank you again. And,
thank you for having me, guys.
If you're interested in seeing Xavier live, or I want to make sure I'm not mispronouncing it this entire episode. Do you say Xavier or do you just say Xavier?
Go for
or
it.
Do you say Xavier?
Both work. I'm fine.
Both. Okay, perfect. It's only been a whole episode.
So,
yeah.
There's not an E before the X, but it's funny because in French we just say Xavier, so that there's no Xavier. And when I came here, people started to say Xavier. I was like, oh, so maybe there's an E in English before the X, and no, there's not. I was like, okay.
Okay.
You're named Xavier too, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
Xavier.
Everyone in Vegas, everyone calls me Javier. They assume because I live in the Southwest that I'm Spanish.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
If you would like to see Senor Javier live, you can check out thestrat.com and go to Xavier Mortimer's show, The Dream Maker. He's performing all the time in Vegas, and you can also check out his TikTok, his social media, Xavier_Mortimer, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a great pleasure and honor to be here.
Well, thank you so much. We love to end every episode how we start every episode,
Exactly.
Which is harder because usually we're way closer. But I'll do it. I'm gonna do it.
All right. So we'll do this in sync. We're gonna do this in sync. We're gonna do this and cover up the camera. All right. So you gonna do it too, Xavier? All right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
For joining us on All Access Magic. We will see you later this weekend.